Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, senior fellow and military expert at Defense Priorities. He's a four-time combat deployer and the recipient of the Bronze Star for Valor in the largest tank battle of Desert Storm, and we are glad to have him today in focus. Colonel, what did we just see? And what is the importance of the words that our own Secretary of Defense spoke? And then we'll get to Russia in a moment.
Yeah, well, this is definitely the potential for an escalation, and certainly makes things more tense without any question, because up to this point we've been talking about helping Ukraine defend itself and to stop the Russian invasion. But now then, with you say we'll talk about it in a second, but with Russia talking about a proxy war, and now then with Secretary Austin talking about all the things that he is about potentially doing more. We can't just dismiss the possibility of this escalating beyond conventional into a nuclear situation. And it's something that no matter what we want to do, we have to give this serious consideration, because we just cannot afford it as a nation.
I want to make it clear that the Secretary said what he said after he and the Secretary of State Antony Blinken became the highest level U.S. officials to visit Ukraine, the capital of Kyiv, since the war began with Russia invading on February 24th. So a couple of questions. If this is some sort of strategy by the United States, and this was not a gaffe by Secretary of Defense, or at least some words that might have wanted to be more thought out before he said them, what would that strategy be?
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more thought put into this, because we have to understand that the primary driver for Putin in the first place was fear of NATO. They feared being surrounded and the power of NATO coming up all around them. And to now say that, hey, we're basically in a proxy war against Russia, and we want to weaken them, actually not proxy, we specifically want to weaken them, that's just going to feed into the fear. And it's no coincidence that that's when afterwards Putin and Lavrov start specifically talking again about the nuclear card potentially going in. And look, you can't say something if it's not going to help our position. We want to, sure, we want to weaken Russia. I don't think there's ever been a question about that with what we're doing. That's clear. But to take it up another verbal escalatory ladder is just not helpful right now, and it doesn't help Ukraine. So I wish we had given it a little more thought.
It feels emotional. It feels like a flex. It feels like, oh, we wish we'd done something 62 days ago, but now that we've seen Kyiv, it's really bad. Well, of course it's really bad. Russia has been pounding Kyiv for weeks. They pulled back, then they engaged back in from afar. I mean, we've got journalists back in there. We've got citizens back in there. What does this do if you were Putin sitting across? And I know people have called him crazy, but there's one other thing he is, and that is super dangerous.
That's 100% right. I couldn't agree with you more, because we already saw that Putin has pulled back his aims from the maximalist that he started off with to now working in the Donbas region, which of course is quite significant and serious for Ukraine, but it is limited in scope right there. But to potentially expand it back out and to give Putin more reason to be fear is just not something that helps our side. Yeah. So it's not useful for us in the objectives that we're trying to accomplish here.
I think about all those Russian moms, those people that we have missed an opportunity with. Zelensky has not, the president of Russia. He's spoken directly to them. You can come and get your sons off the battlefield. You can, understanding that Putin lied to those citizens about how long this two-day war was really going to last. What a missed opportunity, because the narrative and the rhetoric now in Putin's hands will be, well, it's a proxy war. They're coming for us. They want to degrade us, so on and so forth. It'll be a big day. Colonel Davis, thank you for being along.